It's gonna kick up the click. Well, hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? This is Latoya and James.
Hello.
Apparently, my name would be James, and that would be Latoya.
Yes, I think that would be accurate.
If not, then we'd have a lot of questions on the show. But hey, you know what time it is. It's time for the real estate hour with Latoya and James. How are you doing, Latoya, today?
I am great, fine, and dandy. How are you?
I don't know if I can go with the trifecta, but I think I'm doing okay.
Well, that you can work on it.
Well, Latoya, today is, you should be excited. This is Latoya's love, We're going to be talking about the buying process.
Yes, my first love. Well, I'll say my third.
In what order? How's that go?
God, my son, and four. My family and real estate. Hey, whatever.
I didn't want to say anything. I was letting her put herself in that trap, and I was just going to listen to the whole conversation that she was having with herself. Now what?
I'm just passionate about what I do. That's all.
There you go. And what exactly do you do, Latoya?
I sell homes. I work with buyers. I work with some sellers. Mm-hmm. But real estate. Real estate is what I do. Real estate is what I love.
And you're known to be the specialist of buyers. Is that correct?
Yes, I can be. Absolutely.
One thing about buyers and the buying process, honestly, I think it's the more stressful side for the actual end user. When I say the end user, the buyer. As real estate agents, we're used to the process. I think sellers have one emotion: I want to sell. Where buyers have multiple emotions.
Yes. I agree.
And I think that one of the most important webinars to have is that of the buying process.
Yes.
Because everybody has their concept of what the buying process should be like, but we like to bring you back over and show you what it should be like, right?
Right. Everybody watches HGTV and DIY, and the real estate agent shows 3 houses and you pick from one, and that's not the case all the time.
Don't you wish it was though, right? If it was that easy, you know what I mean? If it was that easy.
It looks so easy on TV, but it's not. And everybody has the internet and they can Google what to do and what you're supposed to do. And so
I'm a French model because you saw that on Google, right?
Okay. But we like to deal with reality. So that's what we'll be dealing with here today and every other day on our show.
There you go. So let's do this. Let's dive right in. What is the first thing they should do when deciding to buy a home?
Okay. First thing you do after you make your phone call to me and you tell me, okay, I'm ready to buy a home. The first thing to do is to talk to a loan officer. Talk to see how much you can afford. We need a pre-approval. That is where you discuss with the loan officer your income, your finances, what you can afford. Actually, they would base it off your finances.
And let's slow down because she's diving right in. But First of all, why would they need to call you? They have Zillow and Trulia, which are one and the same. Why can't they just go on to Zillow and Trulia and do it themselves?
Zillow and Trulia, they're a good help, maybe, possibly. If you want to get your feet wet and see what's out there, but they're not always accurate. Any real estate agent will tell you they're not always accurate. So if you want to look on there, maybe to see what's out there, that's fine. That's cool. But have your real estate agent, which would be me, cross-reference them, see what's out there. But if you really want to just go and look for homes, then do realtor.com. And also I have a website as well. LatoyaWilliams.backagent.com. Where's the backslash?
Did you forget?
Williams.
Wow.
Oh, here it is. LatoyaWilliams.backagent.site.com.
Hey,
Sue me.
Hopefully you could find it. But you know what?
You will.
Why don't you go ahead and tell them one more time just so they got it?
LatoyaWilliams.backagent.site.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
And for the record, that will be changing very soon. She didn't know that, but it will be changing very soon to be something so easy that you guys can just go click, boom, and get your website.
Christmas came early.
I do nice things for her sometimes. But I think you established more so websites. But why would they need you in the process? Couldn't they just do this? Let's leave the websites out of it.
Yes.
Why do they need to talk to you?
They need to talk to me because I do this on a regular. This is what I do every day, all day. You need my expertise. You need to know what's going on, how it works. The rules, guidelines, and laws in real estate change daily.
Oh, do they? No, you have no idea.
And there are contracts, there's this and there's that, and you can be sued and blah blah blah, yada yada yada. It's way too much.
And you know, I think when somebody looks at a TREC contract and you see how much details in that contract.
Do they know what TREC means?
Yeah. No, why don't you tell me what TREC means?
TREC is a Texas Real Estate Commission form that you must use, or TAR, which is Texas Association of Real Estate. What is
Realtors.
it? See?
Wow.
See, this is why you need us. This is why you need us. This is why you need us to look at everything and look at all the paperwork and blah blah blah, so we can remember it and you won't have the stress of doing this.
Let me give you an example. I have a client, and we're going to dive into some of these terms. But I have a client right now on the buy side. I usually represent the seller, but there are occasions that I will represent buyers. And I asked for a 10-day option. And the reason I asked for a 10-day option was because I knew it was vacant. And in vacancy, then I know sometimes water's off, electricity might be off, or gas is off. So in the scenario of this situation, water and gas were off. Now, had we signed the typical 5-day or 7-day option period, we would have had to extend the option period. But I foresaw that when a house is vacant, people start turning things off. So I wanted to make sure there was enough time for my client to do his due diligence.
Yes.
So that's one reason you want to hire us. We can foresee some things that you may not see or may not have thought of, but we do this on a daily basis. So
Yes.
it's not our first rodeo. How about that?
How about it?
All right. So then you move forward to talk about the pre-approval process and I think it's very important to dive into what exactly the pre-approval process is, how it works, and what is needed in that scenario.
Oh, it's my turn?
Oh, that's a question. Oh, Lord.
Well, with the pre-approval, you talk to the loan officer. They determine how much you can afford. Now, you can tell them, oh, well, I can do this dollar amount. But your debt to income ratio.
What is that? You said
that has to do with your credit report. What's on your credit? What do you have? What are you paying on? Car notes. It consists of car notes, your student loans, and anything that you pay out on a regular. Your debt up against your income, your actual income, what you bring in. So those are the things that are in your debt to income ratio, or that are considered when buying a home. Your credit cards. Ooh, your credit cards. How many credit cards do you have based upon how much money you make? So all of those things factor in. And your tax returns. Oh my God, your tax returns. You can make $100,000 a year, but if you're counting down, really, James? Are you gonna sit there and laugh like that?
This is so live too. This is so bad. I'm gonna have to erase this one. I'll have to erase this one.
This is the first. But it's okay. We're working through it.
No, we're having fun, guys. But seriously, I'm gonna have to erase this one, man. This. So, how much money should they have during this process?
Well, you're gonna factor in earnest money.
Okay. You said a term that some people may not understand. What's earnest money?
Yeah. Earnest money is the money that shows that you're earnest. The money that shows that you're really serious about buying this home. Typically, it's going to be about 1% of however much the home is. If the home is $100,000, you're going to put about $1,000 earnest money. $200,000, $2,000 earnest money. So it just depends on the cost of the home.
Okay. Where everybody has asked this question. Where does that earnest money go? Is it a down payment? I mean, what exactly is the earnest money? And she said you made a key point that it's something to show that you're earnest. But in that, it's also something for me, the seller, to collect if you default. And we'll get to that later on. But where does that earnest money go?
The earnest money goes to the title company.
Okay.
A lot of people call it escrow. So it goes to the title company where you close on the home. And they hold the money and they hold all this information and title policies and all of that good stuff until we close. So it doesn't go to the seller where they can walk away with it, but it goes to the title company.
Okay. And then What other cost factors are going to fall into this?
There's inspection, which you mentioned option earlier. So within that option period, you're going to do an inspection, which is going to be or can be about $250. Depending on who you choose or what you choose, what company you go with, it's going to be about $250.
Okay.
Estimated.
If we're talking inspection, I think we should go deeper in that, because inspection process is a very, very important part of this. Because I hear people, especially in cash offers, who say, "Well, I need inspection. I don't have to." I mean, most mortgage companies are going to want that, but an inspection is optional. It's not part of a sell. It's an optional thing to do.
Yes,
why would they do it?
Because you want to know what's going on with the house. You can look at the house and it may seem all glittering goldy and all that good stuff, but what are the bones like? What's behind the walls? And you need an inspector who's going to, just really dissect the house and put everything on that piece of paper that you need on there. It may be a split wire in between two walls, but those are things that you need to know.
Here's what I like to tell everybody. We do real estate every day, and an inspector looks at homes every single day.
Yes.
They're licensed inspectors. So I do want to say this because it's very good to know that they're going to write down everything.
Everything.
You are not buying a new home. You're
No.
buying a used home. All right. You're not. So being that it's a used home, there's going to be problems. And some could be minor, some could be major. Look, we call it the trifecta. There's three things you don't want to see wrong. What are those?
Electrical, foundation, and
Roofing. These three are very expensive. But if they say that they saw a plug and that there's a screw missing inside of the plug socket, so the plug is leaning to the right, would you kill a deal over that, Latoya?
Absolutely not.
I think I would just get a screwdriver and fix it. How about you?
I would go in and fix it myself. I've painted. I've gotten down to appraisal, and the appraiser said, "Oh, the paint is." And I probably shouldn't say this, but anywho, the paint is split and it's cracking at the bottom of the garage. Guess who scraped the paint, went to Home Depot, mashed it up, and painted it in 103-degree weather?
Absolutely.
Me.
Absolutely.
Everybody's not going to do that.
And look at her. She's a trooper right there.
Still here.
But think about it this way, and you've got to really say this. I mean, it is a used home.
Yes.
The inspector is looking for everything because he's got to protect himself too.
Yes.
So I purpose to say the report's going to be about 26 pages. I mean, it is going to be 26 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let that freak you out when you see it. No. You understand that's standard. I mean, any used anything, if you really did a major inspection, there's something called normal wear and tear.
Yes.
So be ready and expect that. I wanted to take a little time to say that because I have seen deals blown up on inspection reports when there was really nothing major wrong with the home.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, let's go. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Then there's the option fee.
Okay.
We touched on option periods earlier. I, being on the buyer side, would typically say about $50 to $100 for a 10-day option period.
How much?
50 to 100. It could be more than that, depending on which side you're on, depending on what they request.
Okay.
If they want to up it, then we'll weigh the options and see what we can do. But that's typically to get so you're buying your time off the market. You're buying the house's time off the market. If you in fact go through with the deal, guess what? I check the box that says the money comes back to you.
Who wouldn't? I hope they do. But I don't want to simplify the option. The option is probably one of the most important parts of the contract for a buyer. And I always preface for the buyer. I think earnest money is more important for the seller, where the option fee is more important for the buyer. It gives you time to do your due diligence. It gives you time to check and see what you're actually buying, because you check every single time when you sign a contract that you're buying the home as is. All right. So in that option fee, you got to figure out what exactly is as is. And if as is not acceptable to you, then that's your time to cancel the contract without losing your earnest money.
Yes.
So the option period to me is paramount for the buyer, more so for the buyer than the seller.
Yes.
In the end of the day, the seller is getting rent money. That's what I look at it. You're renting this property to be able to test drive it for a couple days.
You're test driving it.
It's a test drive.
Yes.
So I didn't want to downplay that. Now, I know there's other cost associations with it, and there's a big one now. Look, the days of buying a home with nothing down does not exist.
It's
anymore.
over.
That market has long gone, and I don't think that we'll be alive when it comes back.
I think that's what got us into the market that we had a couple of
You
years
know,
ago.
I didn't want to go there, but if you're gonna throw it out
I
to the world, throw it out to the world.
Let them know.
So, down payment is now paramount to do a real estate deal in the current market. So, unless you're buying an investor property, stated income doesn't even exist anymore in this current market. So, let's talk about down payments. How much does you expect to bring to down payment?
At least 3.5%, depending on what kind of loan you get. FHA requires 3.5%. Conventional, it can be 5%. It can go up from there. But you're going to want to do whatever the cost of the home is. You're going to want to have your 3 to 5% of that. And
that's going to be more of your FHA, correct?
Yes.
I know in conventional, you're looking around more than 5% area.
Yeah, 5%.
So, and look, we use two terms there, FHA and conventional loan. And if we went down the path of talking about those right now, we could be here all day. But we will have in this show mortgage brokers that come on and explain to you what an FHA is, how it works. And let me just define what FHA stands for, Federal Housing Authority. So we will have mortgage brokers who will come on and really explain to you how those instruments work and how they can either help, hurt, or benefit you. So stay tuned. There's a lot more coming up. But for the interim, what's important is to know that you do have to have at least 3.5% to put down on a home. Okay?
Yes.
Moving on, what other money would they have to have ready for getting ready to close on a contract?
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but the closing costs and the down payment are two totally different things.
Okay.
So whatever cost that the seller may not cover as far as closing costs, we're in a market now where people aren't getting closing costs.
I'll be honest with you, as a selling listing agent, I won't even look at a contract that has any type of seller contribution. I don't even look at it.
And on mine, I won't at least try to offer it or ask for it. I'm gonna ask for it. That's gonna happen. So whether at that point we'll just go there with negotiating. So I'm gonna ask for it as a buyer's agent. I have to do my job. But
you would ask for anything, right?
If in the event that we don't get it, that is an added cost. That can be anywhere from $2,000, $4,000 on up. So I would say have at least your down payment at the 3.5, and then have an additional $3,000 to $4,000 depending on the cost of the home again to cover it. 3%. Let's go with 3%.
And let's be fair. I've said that I am a listing agent and I will not accept people asking for, contribution to seller. Here's a reason why, or to buyer. Here's a reason why for me. It's a seller's market. So by the time I put a home in the market, typically I'm getting 3, 4, 5, 6 contracts. So if I'm going to start looking at contracts, the ones that say seller's contribution are going to be in the bottom. Absolutely on the bottom, because my job as a listing agent is to look out for my client.
Yes.
Latoya's job as a buying agent is to do what's best for her client. So there's another reason why you want to have a realtor, because Latoya will ask for that. Where some people won't even ask for it, thinking, well, I'm not going to get it. But well, who knows? Maybe you do find, maybe you have the best offer and you ask for seller contribution. And then I'm willing to look at it. But you've got to be the best. And then I'll give you what you want.
And sometimes you can work it in your favor. You may have some wiggle room in the price that you have to go up on the price and then ask for seller contribution. It's a give or take thing. Yeah. So it can still be a good offer with seller contribution. It just depends. Everything depends upon everything else in real estate. And I say that often. It depends.
And I think that we've touched on some things, but I want to go back. And I know I hate to go backwards when you're going forward, but there's some things that we've got to touch up on.
Let's do it.
The beginning of the process starts with how much can you buy, which we've identified. You need a pre-approval letter to be able to do that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the pre-approval letter, it's typically conditional, correct?
Yes.
So if it's conditional, what is it conditioned on?
It's conditioned on your finances.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. How worthy of this loan? How worthy of you? You know what I'm saying?
But let's say like this. I'm already going past. Let's go past the vetting process of them getting their documentation. A pre-approval letter means you've already looked at all of that. And then it's conditional based upon what? The snapshot. The snapshot.
Yes.
When I look at you right now and your credit score is, let's say 700, your debt to income ratio is, let's say 2080, which is very good. With that being said, and that snapshot in this time frame, would it be conducive for me to go finance furniture for my brand new home?
Absolutely not. I typically tell my people, don't blink. Don't go buy a car to put in your nice driveway. Don't go buy furniture. Don't go buy baby furniture. Don't do any of those things. Don't dispute anything on your credit. Do nothing but what the loan officer tells you to do, and the realtor.
And I'm sorry to go backwards, but it's so important. I mean, that's one of the points we did miss. You've got your pre-approval letter. You're ready to go. You've looked at a house. You've gone through the earnest money, the inspection, the appraisal, the option fee. You know, you've already got your down payment. You're ready to go. And then you're good, ready to close, and things have changed on that credit report. There's certain new credits that have hit that credit report.
Yes.
Is that going to mess up the process?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just had a buyer. We were 7 days from closing, and a library fine popped up on her credit. A library fine.
But
So
it
that-
affects the credit score.
It does.
You go from 700 to 620. Well, we got some questions now because
Yeah.
I approved you at 700
Based on the snapshot.
and you've gone down to 620.
Mm-hmm.
So your trustworthiness to me as somebody who doesn't know you now is in question.
Yes.
All right. So I'm sorry to go backwards. I like to go forward, but I think it's such a very important thing to discuss because I've seen people do it. I've seen people go get the brand new car and the brand new furniture to match that home, and they put in the credit card, and then we get to getting close to close, and we got a problem. We've got a problem.
Your debt has changed. You have more debt now.
Exactly. So do remember, these banks have never seen you. They don't know what you look like 9 times out of 10. So to them, you are what's on paper, and anything changes on that paper, my trustworthiness of you will decline every single time.
Yes.
Okay. And then, you know, we've got so deep in this process, and we've talked now about what not to do. But let me ask you a question. For the new buyer, new home buyer, what can they do for you to make the process smoother? And in that, how available should they be to you, the mortgage broker, and anybody else in the process throughout the process?
To make the process go smoother, I would say be prompt. Be prompt about everything and communicate everything. There's no such thing as, oh, I'm not going to tell them this. I'm going to leave this money out, or I'm not going to tell them this.
Will find it.
They find everything.
We will find it.
They ask you for your tax returns, but guess what? They go behind you, and they don't go behind you. Bad choice of words. But go to the...
They can't go behind you because we gave them permission. You gave them permission to check you.
Yeah.
So,
they go to the IRS and they request transcripts. So you provide yours based on the pre-approval, but they also get it from the IRS. So you can't hide anything with this process at all. I would also say what not to do is put large amounts of money in your bank account that's unaccounted for.
Exactly.
Don't do that. A lot of people don't know that can hurt you. You can try to pad your account, you know, and it may be money, maybe from an insurance claim or this or that. But the best thing to do is just to hold on to it until after it's done. Or
at least identify it. It's
Yes.
one thing that you can't stop if there was a hailstorm and you claimed it and then you get your check removed for your deposit in the bank. But
Yes.
be able to tell your mortgage broker, here's what's going on, so they can answer those questions.
Paper trail.
Yeah,
You
as
need
long as the paper trail. I mean, we're not advising you to not get the roof on until close. Because first of all, you're going to have to get it done to close.
Right.
But just have a nice paper trail where that money's coming from.
Yes.
Especially lump sums of money, right?
Yes.
Go on.
Also, be prompt about getting your paperwork in. Everything that they request, get it to them ASAP. This can go as fast or as slow as you make it go. Let your job know what you're doing so you can answer the phones if you work in a call center or anything that requires a lot of your time there. Let your boss know, let your supervisor know what you're doing. That way you can step away from the phone. You can answer email, answer a text. But those things, time is of the essence with this.
Who hires the inspector?
The buyer does.
Okay.
We can recommend, we can suggest, but ultimately you choose.
You choose. So if the buyer is paying the inspector, who's the inspector gonna call when he's going out to the inspection?
He's gonna call the buyer.
So if you can't pick up that phone call, what's the inspector gonna do?
Wait
And
until
if
you answer.
if he can't get you within a certain time frame, he's gonna sit there all day long?
No,
He's gonna go.
he's gonna go to something else.
And you've lost one day.
Yes.
Now let's start there. Then let's say the mortgage company calls you and they're trying to get, let's say, pay stubs.
Mhm.
Let's say they needed especially if you work bi-weekly, they need your last pay stub. And they call you all day long and they can get a hold of you. That's another day lost.
Mhm.
All right. Let's keep going with this. Now the appraiser is called and he's already booked his appointment, but he still wants to talk to you and he can't get you on the phone and you don't pick up until he cancels the appointment. That's 3 day loss.
Mhm.
Now the inspector calls you and says, well, I can't get back to the home for 3 more days. How many days are we at now? That's 7. You're on your last day of your option and you don't even know if you want to buy this home. And me as a seller agent is like, I've already reached out to your buyer agent, like, where we at?
Mhm.
Where we at? And if she doesn't have the answers that I'm looking for, then I become less trustworthy this deal is going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
And I look at the realtor and say, you haven't managed your client. I mean, what is going on here? Your client should have known from the start the process. And if they don't know the process, they should have entered in this agreement. Because now we have a binding contract.
Mhm.
And a binding contract now, if you try to send me an amendment, which is something else we'll touch on, I don't have to accept it. We're binded now.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about the amendment. What exactly would the amendment be? Why would we amend a contract?
You can amend a contract for a number of different things.
Stick with this. Why would we amend the contract typically in this scenario that we're talking about? Why would we amend the contract?
In this situation, we would amend the contract for the option period. If we find out some things that are wrong, if we're still in negotiation of the option period, if
inspection report. That's the number one reason why we amend the contract.
Yes, if we're in the inspection report and let's say there may be some foundation issues and we have to get a foundation repair company to come out and do a quote or something like that, that may take a little more time. That's understandable. You're still doing your due diligence about getting the what's need to be taken care of on the inspection report.
So do I need to amend the contract with a binding contract? If we get out of the option period, do I need to amend the contract at that point?
No, you need to.
As a seller, I don't have to do it.
Unforeseen circumstances, you may need to do it. You do it before. You don't do it the day of or the day after. You want to take care of that before.
If we go out of the option period and we have a binding contract, the only thing now you can do to terminate this contract is to give me the earnest money. Why would you give up? What'd you say? Did you say 10%, 1%?
1%.
Why would you give up $1,000, let's say $200,
Mm-hmm.
when you could have just lost 50 to walk away from the contract?
True.
But if you're going to allow 7 days to go by because you're not communicating and you get a binding contract, now your negotiation kind of goes down in this battle because I can just say no. We want you to no.
And they're well within their right to say no.
Because we followed through on our process. We gave you access to the home to do your due diligence, and you chose to delay the process. Not my problem.
True.
Not my problem. So if you want to cancel, we're going to take your $1,200. We'll take it in a heartbeat. When you could have just lost 50. So we're talking the difference of 11,000 or 1,100. I mean, it's insanity.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
get it done. Get it done.
Quickly.
Get it done. So is there any other suggestions you would have? And then, a good question that I get asked a lot from the sell side is how long does this process typically take?
This process can take 20 days, it depends on the loan officer. It depends on the company, what their rules, regulations, and guidelines are. Things have changed in the loan process. So they're typically saying about 45 to 60 days for the process. Some people can still get it done in 20 days, 30 days, but you you have to be on your P's and Q's. You have to get everything done, be prompt about what we were talking about, be prompt. But it takes anywhere from 20 days to, I'll say, 60 days.
And when we say 20 days, that's prime.
That's
Like prime.
your goal, like your
Prime.
platinum.
I mean,
Your-
that's prime credit, yes. If you're a marginal credit, no. Don't
absolutely
expect
not.
20 days today or tomorrow.
No.
And if you're just on that fine line, let's say that 620 line, let's just go ahead and say 45 days.
45.
And if you get close sooner, great.
Awesome.
But I, as a realtor, and Latoya as a realtor, if we knew that, would never put on a contract 30 days to close. We're going to put 45. Now, if we get close sooner, are you going to be mad about that?
Absolutely not.
I mean, we're all celebration, mazel tov, open up a bottle of champagne.
Yeah,
But
we'll say this on or before.
there you go. But our main job is to manage the expectations and not give you false expectations to think we're closing in 20 days.
Yeah.
Like I had a buyer ask me, if I buy today, can I close by Christmas? No, not going to happen. Are you going to be working on Christmas Day? You think the banks will be working on Christmas Day?
No.
How the heck you can close on Christmas?
Do you do work the day before Christmas?
Come on now. My kid, look, there's a couple things that take priority over business. And one of those will be my children. So no, I will not be working. And if you closed, I'd be the first close I didn't come to. I'm sorry.
Just honest, like
that.
Hey,
I'm just gonna keep it up. I'm glad you closed. I'll catch you tomorrow.
I may come. I will. I'm not gonna even lie. My son will be in tow, and he will say, "No touching."
So we identified that, but is there anything else you can think of in this process that we needed to identify for the casual first-time buyer? Is there anything else you'd want to say to them?
Trust your agent. Trust your agent. Listen to your agent. You may have a lot of friends and family members that have bought 4 or 5 houses over the years, but the best thing to do is to trust and listen to your agent. Everybody's a professional in something other than their profession, but listen to your professional, your real estate agent.
And I'm glad you brought that up, that people could have bought 4 and 5 different homes, but we're agents. I mean, heck, every time I turn around, they're telling us this new law's been passed. Oh, yes. Like the new Trek contract. I'm like, what is going on? The right when you get used to it, it's like, boom, we got to switch it real quick.
New laws went into effect October 1st.
You know what I mean? And then that extended the time of close, where you were once in a place where I could comfortably say 15 days. Not happening. Not happening now. No. Right? And that was overnight. You woke up and it was like new law.
Yeah.
So unless you have time in your day to sit around and look at all the laws, hey, if you do, you don't need us. And I'll admit that right now. If you have the time to look up every single law, study each contract, at that point, why not just become a realtor?
Absolutely. Hey, you might as well.
At least you'll get paid for that knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So, I should ask this question before we leave. Who pays the buyer agent?
Who pays the buyer's agent?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm gonna say. The seller pays me.
Okay.
So they're already we're already accounted for within that. So when they have an agent and when they sign on and they do their exclusive right to sell, we're included in that. And that's typically what it is. The seller pays. You don't pay me. That's what I tell my people. You don't pay me. They do. When we go buy a new home, when we go buy a pre-existing home, typically the seller pays.
So let's go to the sell side, because the question should be asked, why would I pay you? You know why I would pay Latoya for bringing me a buyer? Keyword is she brought me a buyer.
Yeah.
I'm all about paying. Hey, I'm all about paying her. I have no problem. Hey, let me write that check right now. She brought me you.
Yeah.
And honestly, dealing with the realtor, because we do this so much, it's usually a smoother transaction. Usually when exactly what she said earlier, I'd ask for seller contribution. I would say, I'm not gonna take it. Then she'd try to negotiate, and we would negotiate till we got the best deal. While you're working, her and I are doing the negotiations. Her and I are doing everything in our power to do what's best for our client. My client being the seller, her client being the buyer. But that's going on while you're sleeping. Yes. That's going on while you're eating, and that's going on while you're at work.
Yes. While you're playing on the playground, pushing your children on the swing, we're negotiating.
And if Latoya, being the good realtor she was, saw that the process was slowed down, Latoya's already called me to say, hey, James, here's what's going on. We missed a call, or whatever it might be. We need to extend the option. Is that okay? And I'm going to say yes, because at least there's that communication.
Yes.
I don't want to be told the day of. I want to be told at least 3 to 4 days before we're getting this option.
Yes. The big thing in this is communication. You have to communicate with all parties. All.
Not just some?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't know.
No, no, no. I need to know everything. I need to know what you ate for lunch. We need to communicate.
I like that. Communication. So that's if you took nothing else from this webinar, your number one thing should be what?
Communication.
Communication. So next week, I think I have a guest coming on. I should say I think we're gonna have a guest coming on. I am bringing a mortgage broker on because I want them. Since we were talking about the buy process, I think it's important that we expand that and actually have a special. Also, I said the specialist come talk. We are not going to talk mortgage because that's not what we specialize in.
Yes.
We specialize in real estate.
I stay in my lane.
Then they specialize in finance. So who better to talk about finance than the person that's writing the check?
Hey,
I
I'm a professional in my profession. They're a professional in their profession.
And that's all we can ask for, right? So be ready for next week. We're excited. We're super excited that you guys are here and you guys are coming on the show. The show is here for you. We are here for you. We're here to give you information that you can use to make a good buying and selling decision. That's it. I'll repeat that. We're here to give you information that you need to make an informed buying or selling decision.
I agree.
Hey, what's the name of our show?
The Real Estate Hour with Latoya and James.
I love this show.
The Real Estate Hour with Latoya and James.
Eventually we are going to figure that one out, right?
You hear my name is first, right?
Hey, that is true. I work for Latoya, in case y'all didn't know. So anyway, we love you guys. We thank y'all for coming out.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week.